What is happening, guys, and welcome back to Amor Aventura. The last 7 days, I don't know, it could have been 10. It's honestly been absolutely crazy for us over here. So from deleting our latest YouTube video to running from a wildfire to mechanic issues, we've had some crazy days. So let's just take a quick moment to look back on this craziness.
Probably the roadside assistance one?
Yeah.
I hope everything is okay. Following options before making your selection is at risk. Hang up now and call 911.
We are walking to a vegetarian coffee shop and get some work done and hopefully hear from the mechanics soon.
It just started snowing.
$18 degrees. So not an ideal situation to wake up in. I had to get out once to clean off the solar panels because we got like 5 inches of snow, and my hands have never been so cold in my entire life.
It was pulling in 0 amperes. I don't know what's happening. I just hope he's okay.
Oh my god.
What?
Oh my god. Oh my god.
Your hands?
Oh.
Wait, there's a
Oh, they're so cold it hurts. The heater.
Come, breathe.
The heater.
Breathe. So it all started when we were living Silverton, which is where the last video we uploaded was at. We were taking our anniversary trip, and on our last day, we had somebody driving past us telling us that there was a wildfire just a few, like half a mile down the road. So leaving there was chaotic. And as soon as we left, like an hour or so after we left it, we stopped in a town, and that's where everything started turning upside down. The bus started feeling weird. We managed to make it to a Walmart, which we ended up calling home for 2 days. Ended up needing to get towed to a shop that we called home for 3 days. And then made it to Colorado just in time for the temperature to drop to 7 degrees Fahrenheit. So, yeah.
So, aside from the few clips that we just showed you, it was really hard for us to, record it while going through it because it was just a lot to take in, and it felt like every time we kind of took a step forward, we took 2 steps backwards. So it was really just a really hectic week for us. And especially going into the mechanics and leaving the mechanics, we just want to turn every experience that we have, positive or negative, into a resource for all of you guys out there, because we know that it can help you, and we know that maybe had we had some background information, it could have possibly even helped us in this situation.
So what we're going to do today is share some tips and experiences that we've had in terms of mechanics. We're not mechanically wise or inclined at all, and this has been an area we've really struggled. As you can tell, because of our lack of experience, we spent a lot of money into Luna, and so we want to really turn those experiences, like Zach said, into tips. So let's get you some mechanic knowledge.
Issues really started 2 weeks ago when we noticed that we had a leak in the front left of the bus, which was the exact place that we had a leak right before we left Ohio, and we ended up needing to get our brake lines replaced, which is exactly what we did 6 months ago when we left Ohio, where we had a mobile mechanic work on our bus, which takes us to our first lesson learned. And first tip for you guys is, if you are going to get a mobile mechanic to do your work, there are obviously reputable people out there that will do a good job, but really just make sure that you ask around, talk to a lot of them, make sure that you're exercising all of your options, and you don't just jump on the first one that you find like we had to do because we were so rushed and we were about to leave. We kind of just jumped on an opportunity to have somebody come look at it. And when you do that, you don't really have a way of holding them accountable. So when we realized that this was the same issue that we just fixed 6 months ago, tried to give the guy a call, tried to give him some texts, no responses. So really just make sure that if you're going to go the mobile mechanic route, you find somebody that you actually trust and have good energies towards and really just have a good gut feeling about.
So the next thing, more than a tip, is a reminder. It's a reminder to ask all the questions you can think of, whether it's a mobile mechanic or a shop. Don't ever feel shy of asking questions, no matter how dumb you may seem. And that includes using the internet. Just really do the work of finding out what the problem is, what it takes to fix it. Just the more knowledgeable you are, then the less room there is for mistakes, scams, or just anything bad going on.
I know it can be tricky sometimes, especially when you're in a sticky situation and you just need to get your bus fixed. But one of the biggest things that we learned throughout this process is call every person that you can possibly call and find a shop that will work with you. A lot of the times we were calling, and like we talked about earlier, we are not mechanically minded. So when we describe things over the phone, we obviously might seem like we don't know what we're talking about, and a lot of the shops gave us a lot of attitude or were disrespectful or honestly just flat out mean towards us for not knowing what we were saying or not knowing exactly what the problem was. But you had to call around, and we eventually found a shop that was really respectful, really nice. And one of the main things, especially living this lifestyle, is you have to find somebody that's willing to work with you, and you want to explain your entire situation to them to make sure that there's no misunderstandings. Like, we found an awesome shop. They were an hour away, but we explained to them we live in our bus full time. So is that going to be a problem? Like, will we be able to stay there? What does that look like? And they were completely okay with us crashing there for a few days while they figured everything out. And that was really important to us. And that really just helped the process go a lot smoother.
And with shops, in our experience now, having gone twice, we did spend much more than we wanted to. The first time around, we spent $800, and the second time around, we spent $800 just in 2 weeks. So obviously that's not a bill that you're excited for, but we're realizing that paying a little bit more for that guarantee that it's a job well done, that is someone you can hold accountable, and honestly too, like, that it's a small business, it's just like, for us, it's starting to make more sense. So I think moving forward, shops is definitely going to be a route.
Another thing that we have learned is if you can figure out how to do it yourself, you will be able to save yourself a lot of money and even headache. I've always been incredibly intimidated about working on the bus because it just seems like such a big job and it seems like so much can go wrong. But in the time at Walmart when we were trying to self-diagnose Luna and figure out everything that was going wrong, we went through an array of different options that we thought it could be, and we got under the hood, we got under the bus, and we really just kind of dived into what it could possibly be. And that meant taking some things out, taking some things apart, watching a lot of YouTube videos, and really just self-educating ourselves on how we would be able to handle certain things. And while our own diagnosis wasn't necessarily the correct one, and what we ended up having to pay for, we probably couldn't have done ourselves, we did manage to find out how to do an oil change, and we needed to do that anyway. So we got under there, we changed the oil, which might not sound that difficult or incredible to a lot of you, but we're very proud of it because it's something that neither one of us have ever done. And knowing how many quarts of motor oil this thing takes, it would have costed a fortune just to even go get it done. So we saved a lot of money that way. But yeah, long story short, just educate yourselves if you can, and don't be afraid to try it, because there's really not that much that can go wrong, and you can always just trust your gut and understand if you think you're doing too much or right where you're supposed to be doing.
And lastly, this is a lesson that we're learning that's really rough to learn, is that really some of our issues go back to the beginning when we bought Luna. We should have definitely been more educated on like the engine and doing checks on the engine. We did have a mechanic come check the bus out before we bought it, but again, it was a mobile mechanic, so we're realizing we should have had more than one person look at the bus, because a lot of the issues that we're having now are like due to rusty parts or stuff that if we would have bought a bus in a better condition, we definitely wouldn't be going through. If you saw our bus conversion video, and after hearing me say that we spent $1,600 in repairs in just 2 weeks, you know that our big part of our budget has been into mechanics with Luna, so it's a lesson we are learning and dealing with at this time. Guys, that is the tips and advice and experiences we've had overall in the last 2 years of having a bus and now being on the road. So there's just so much to be said about the mechanic part of it, but we hope this at least gave you an insight of what that looks like when you're on the road, or just things to consider in terms of mechanics.
Yeah, it really just comes down to educating yourself in any way, whether you want to do it yourself, whether you want to get mobile mechanic, whether you want to go the shop route. No matter which route that you go, there's really not a right or wrong answer or way to do it, as long as you are completely educated and you know exactly what you're getting yourself into.
And trust your gut. Like, I had a bad feeling about the mechanic who did our brakes before we left Ohio, and I didn't honor that gut feeling that it didn't feel right, and so we paid the bill again. So trust your gut, educate yourself, and everything else just comes also with this lifestyle. And yeah, it's a bit of an unexpected change of theme that we had for the blog, but we hope that this was helpful and resourceful, as that is what we're striving to do. So if it was, stick around with the subscribe button, because we have lots of more resources coming your way. And as always, you can check out our website for more as well.
Thank you for watching. We appreciate every single one of you. We appreciate all of the love and all of the support, and we will see you next week.